Good afternoon, you wonderful people. We're back again. We're going to continue. We're going to go on to the sleeve for this dress. This is a dress pattern that we've been making. And we've done the front, the back, the frills on the bottom. And now we're going to be doing the sleeves. There we go. And the sleeves has got some panels on it. So we're back on the dress pattern, and this is about the 8 stages because there's quite a few stages. Couldn't do it all in one video shoot. So this lesson is to show you how to do the patterns for the sleeve. Okay, so in this you're going to have your sleeve block, new sheet of paper, your pencil, your pens, your ruler, all the bits that you need. Whether you use a plain paper, spot and cross, or brown paper, plain sheet of paper, get your block because you need your sleeve block, and then you mark around the block as per usual. You put your grain line on, your balance marks on, and I've got one that I've marked out earlier on underneath, and you can put your block away, and that is the one that I've cut out and I've marked round. So now what we need to do, this is now your draft, your sleeve draft. As we do the dress, we do a draft. And as I said, you do not cut your draft up. So this is the front and the back draft of the dress, and this is the sleeve. So on a new sheet of paper, what we have to do is we got to separate the sleeve into, we're going to have 3 seams on our sleeves. So I've already drawn the line that I need for my sleeve on my my draft that I've cut out. So I'll just highlight them a bit more so you can see them clearer. This is your another line, which is your center sleeve line going up there, and I've done another one here. What I've basically done is I've separated the sleeve into 4 sections that I've got on here. So once I've got that, I've got to, because it's off the shoulder, so I want it to come off the sleeve as well, shoulder. So I'm going to measure the same measurement. I want to keep it the same measurement down like I did on my bodies, on my block, my draft, whatever that measurement is, I'm going to apply it from the center of my sleeve. So that is my center. So whatever the measurement is, I'm going to measure down like that from the center here and around the head of the sleeve and round till I get there. And that's where I'm going to come with my the shape of my neckline off the shoulder. And I do the same on the back section, and I'm going to put a mark, and then all I do is I'm going to draw a line from there round like that, with that point there. Can you see that? So I've drawn that on there. So as I said, everything you mark out on your draft before you start to make your pattern. So I've drawn the line off there. I've got my one line, I've got the other seam and the other seam. So I've got to do each section. I have to make a pattern piece for that. So the first thing I do, before you even do anything, you can just do your grain lines on these. So your grain line is parallel always to the center of your sleeve. So I'm going to put a grain line on this piece so that I've got it there already. And so that's the grain line for that piece. And I'm going to put the grain line for that on that side as well. So we've got it all marked out on our block. So that is the grain line there. And I'm going to do it so it's parallel to my center. So I'm going to put it on that side as well. So that's the grain line on there. So all the grain lines are marked on all the pieces. And I'm going to do the same thing on here. So it's parallel to the center of my sleeve. So that would be my grain line on here, on that side. So I then mark them all on. So if you can see that, all the grain lines are marked on the sections that I'm going to trace off. So once I've got that, I'm going to get a new sheet of paper, well, clean sheet of paper rather. I've got some underneath here. So I'm going to start off with this section here. So this is number 1 section. Let's just put it on there. And the next one, this is number 2. And this is number 3. And this is number 4. So these are the sections. So I've got to have all these sections of my sleeve. So number 1, I'm going to start off with the front section of my sleeve. So from that point, I'm going to mark there, along there, down to the bottom of my sleeve. I'm going to mark it off, and then I'll just connect the lines, across the bottom, and then with my tracing wheel, I'm going to trace off the line so that we can just connect it up. So from this first line here, I'm going to trace off the line all the way down like that. And while I'm doing the tracing, I'll just trace off my grain line as well. So that's the first piece that I do, that I trace off. So once I've traced that off, I put my balance mark in, and I'm going to remove my pattern, my draft, and I'm going to connect up the line. So this is my grain line on here. I'm going to put the grain line on, mark that on. I'm going to connect up my side here, across the bottom, along there, and then I'm going to come up on that line that I've traced off here, right up to the top, just like that. So once I've got that, that's my balance mark, I'm going to now add my seam allowance on this. But before I do that, I'm going to put some balance mark on this so that we don't get messed. We join the right pattern piece onto the right pattern piece. So I'm going to put balance mark there and one there on this one. Okay, so that's it for the first section, and then all we do is add our seam allowance on here. Always adding the seam allowance onto the back, onto the side of our sleeve, down the bottom, a centimetre, and up this section here. So we've got our sides, our seams have a seam allowance on all the way up. So take that across, and I'm going to put 1/4 inch, because that is my neck at this top, and then I'm going to put the 1/2 inch around the armhole. So that completes that section of the sleeve. So I'm going to write on here, sleeve, and we're going to cut 2 of those. Right, so that's the first piece that we do, and we're going to do the next piece. So once again, you don't cut up your block, you place that block on your new sheet of paper, and we're going to copy off the next section, which is from where we started here, or where we finished on the last one, and we're going to go down that line, and we're going to go across like that, and we're going to go, this is the center line of your sleeve, and we're going to mark on the bottom hem. And once we've got that, we're going to just connect up the lines like that. So we connect those up like that. Like that. This is a straight line because this is your center of your sleeve. And we're going to add seam allowance on there, which is, we just add a centimetre along there. And we're going to use this straight line as our grain line on this. So we can just mark that on, grain line. We straighten up the bottom like that. And we add the seam allowance on the bottom like that. And we've got to add the seam allowance up at this section here, because this is a seam, and we're going to join it to the first piece of pattern that we use, and we're going to add on the neck 1/4 of an inch like that. So we want the same notch down here onto here, and we want the same notch from here down. So whatever that measurement is, we got to apply it as our notch, and we're going to use that also, that measurement, for where we put our cones, because the cone has to go into the sleeve as well. We've got them going in the sleeve. Can you see them? So we need a notch there. That's an indication to tell us that's where the cone goes. And then we measure down here and we apply it, the seam allowance, the balance mark. So we know that that is that. And we're going to CUT cut 2 of those. And this is sleeve. That is your sleeve here. That's part of the sleeve. So the next piece we're going to do is the other 2 sections, which comes round to the back, which is that piece and that piece. So when we come back, we're going to go on and show you how we do that. So we're going to take a break now and then come back to that. Bye.